And now I will introduce our first speaker, Benjamin Mattull, presenting his thesis titled The Age of the Earth.
Good afternoon. The Bible does not tell us the age of the earth. It was not meant to. This silence has caused much deliberation and much division among true Bible-believing Christians as to whether the days of creation are literal 24-hour days or simply poetic literary devices to indicate eons of time. While disagreement over the age of the earth might, on the surface, seem like a small issue, it is actually an issue with great theological importance. Anytime Christians divide over a certain topic, even if it is not a hostile divide, we ought to look very closely at the doctrine dividing them, for the church ought to be united as much as possible. Christian theologians and scientists have developed a number of their own theories about this topic. The first of these, known as concordism, or old earth creationism, holds that the earth is anywhere from millions to billions of years old. One old earth view, the literary framework view, posits the theory that these 6 days of creation are poetic and can be interpreted as such. The theistic evolution view allows for a timeline of millions of years, and scientists who hold the theistic evolution position are called macroevolutionists. The historic creation view, which can also be referred to as the gap theory, says that between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2, there's an unspecified gap in the timeline, allowing for the scientifically accepted age of the earth. The young earth perspective holds that these days are, in fact, 24-hour days, and that the Bible is literal in this sense, meaning that the earth is only around 12,000 years old at the most. These several views are all within orthodoxy, but some are more theologically credible than others. Each of these will be looked at through linguistic, environmental, and theological implications or arguments. Theistic evolution, firstly, has many facets and even differing views among those who hold to it. The basic belief is that God was the one behind all of the genetic mutations and natural selection, manipulating the natural laws and special changes in order to create all of the differing aspects of nature found in the rest of Genesis 1 and 2. Genesis 1:1 says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth," before going into the 6 days of creation. Many Christians have thought of this as describing the same creation, but theistic evolutionists, among others, have said that it is really 2 different creation accounts. Perhaps the most common piece of evidence used in support of evolution and theistic evolution is the fossil record. Through the layers of geological formations, they argue that the progression of species can be viewed. One significant problem with theistic evolution is that it emerged as a viewpoint only very recently from a theological perspective, and only after the propagation of Darwin's atheistic evolution, which hints of capitulation to the world. While being older as a view does not necessarily make it a better view, to disagree with the vast majority of Christians throughout history is a dangerous theological place to be indeed. Perhaps the strongest theological evidence against theistic evolution is the vast amounts of pre-fall death that would be necessary to occur to bring about the earth in the form it was at the end of the Genesis creation account. As Christians, we believe that God is a good and loving God, and that as such, he called his creation good. Would our good God call that process good which kills off millions and millions of organisms which God also called good? The literary framework view is the view that the Genesis account was framed not literally, but literarily, meaning that the things described in the text could have been symbolic for other things. The 11th chapter of Augustine's City of God deals with creation. Interestingly enough, Augustine was one of the first, if not the first, to realize that the parallels between the days of creation. The first, second, and third days established the habitats and the locations for the things created in the 4th, 5th, and 6th days. The heavens for the planets, the sea for the sea creatures, and the dry land for land animals and plants, and humans. These parallelisms are reminiscent of a literary framework. One problem with this as a proof is that God works in patterns and parallelisms often, even more often than not. Our God is an orderly God. Think of 1 Corinthians 14:33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. God working in a beautifully ordered manner is not a proof that the Genesis creation account is merely literary. This shows a God that works in complex yet simple ways, a fact that can be observed throughout the scriptures. Another perspective in the Pale of Orthodoxy is known as the day-age theory. Quote, the day-age theory takes the days in Genesis 1 as periods of indefinite length, such that neither the age of the earth nor the duration of any particular period in creation history can be determined from the Bible. The basis for this view is that the Hebrew word yom, meaning day, can also mean an indefinite period of time. Most often, those who support this view point to three main pieces of evidence: the meaning of the Hebrew word yom, the evidence for an old earth as observed by science, and the poetic nature of the creation account. The word yom is used throughout the scripture to mean some unspecified period of time. It is used to mean a myriad of other things, such as year, age, ago, always, season, ever, continually, and many others. Whereas all of this is true, this does not seem like conclusive enough evidence to support an old earth view. The fact that the rest of the text is framed literally in the Hebrew points to a better interpretation being towards the literal view. The day-age creationists also point to the evidence observed by science that points to an older Earth, the expansion rate of the universe being calculated by measuring the speed at which objects are going away from the Earth, and as we see that, it points to 13.8 billion years of age. This is not a point that proves the expansion, that proves that the Earth is old, because the Lord created the universe being fully formed. We can see this in the way He created Adam and Eve being fully formed, fully developed adults. Overall, this evidence is insufficient. Finally, the young Earth creationist view holds the most water as an interpretation of the biblical creation account. The young Earth view posits that each day of the 6 days of creation are, in fact, 24-hour days, and that all of creation was accomplished in this 6-day period. 7, if you count the day that God rested from His work of creation, establishing the Sabbath day, which His people were told to take as holy and set apart unto God. The linguistic reasoning behind this view is held in the way that the same historical language and narrative structure is used between these chapters and Genesis 12 through 50, as well as many other books written about the same time. These are all phrased as literal interpretations. Dr. Don Batten, in his article titled The Age of the Earth, brings up several points in favor of young Earth creationism, such as the existence of Tyrannosaurus rex red blood cells, when according to the old Earth timeline, those things should have decayed millennia ago. The most important aspect of this issue for Christians, particularly, is the theological aspect. As we have seen, the view that best fits the God we know and love is the young Earth view. Whatever side is chosen, what is most important is understanding the scriptures first, as well as the reasoning behind not only that view, but the others as well. This issue is of utmost importance in Christian circles, and has always been a point of debate between Christians. Creation before the fall tells us much about our God, and the mode is important for this very reason. Thank you.